What is going on, Rewinders? So today is going to be our first BGC full episode of Rewind. Okay, before I get started, you already know what to do. If you're not already following the podcast, please follow the podcast. Share it into any social media platform that you can, so we could go back in time and rewind some of these episodes. Okay, so first, this is the first season one, episode one. Okay, and it starts off with them putting off like the definition. The nostalgia in this episode is so crazy to me. I didn't think I'm gonna give them this. The quality of this episode was a lot better than I expected. Okay, I was watching on that good old Tubi. So I'm thinking it's gonna be like, trash sound. No, it was pretty good. It was really good. Okay. So they start off with the definition of BGC, and then the voiceover lady goes over. She's like, "So 7 bad girls move into a mansion. Who will live in this house and get along, or will it wreak havoc of its head?" You know how the voiceover lady, right, does for BGC? First of all, the house looks like a mental clinic or a prison. So they show the house with the gates opening up. To me, any house with gates, if it's olden, it always gives me mental clinic vibes. So yeah, they play like this Avril Lavigne type song, and the first girl we get introduced to is Zara. So she's a white girl from a small town in upstate New York. Okay, and she gets to the house. She's like, "Yeah, I'm here. Oh my god." She's like silly and dingy AF, right? Mind you, this season had a lot of blondes and like brunettes. I don't know why they casted it like that. I'm guessing they were trying to go with the whole, because around that time I feel like Playboy was really in, with the Madison girl, you know what I'm saying, the Kate girl. So I feel like they were trying to go with that type of vibe, but that's one thing I kind of peeped. Okay, so she runs around the house being silly and dingy, and then Leslie, y'all, let me tell y'all something. This is one of the baddest BGC entrances ever, and it's really underrated. Okay, Leslie pulls up with a motorcycle. All right, she pulls up in a motorcycle, and Leslie, y'all, is so pretty. Like, she is so pretty in the face. It's like ridiculous. Okay, and she was telling us how she used to get in trouble while she was younger, and a little bit more about Zara too. She is dating, which is so crazy. At the time, she was 22, and she was dating an 18-year-old. Suspicious girl, because I don't know about that. Like me, I'm not the type that's into younger. Like, I like older. I'm not talking about like 4 years old, but like, you feel me? Like, you gotta be in your late 20s, maybe early 30s. That type of vibe. But like, yeah, just saying. Okay, so Zara shows Leslie around the house. Zara's voice is so annoying. She's like, "Oh, I don't have a roommate yet." Oh my god, I'm just like excited. Do you want a room with me? We're bad girls. We're bad girls. Dingy AF, right? Leslie's just looking at her like this stupid white girl. So Ripsy comes in, and Ripsy gives me very much Paris Hilton vibes. Okay, so she comes in with like a whole bunch of bags and like clothes, very much me though. Because listen, if I were to ever do a show, they would have to give me some extra suitcases. Hopefully, more soon than later. You know what I'm saying? They would have to give me a couple of suitcases because I would carry a whole lot of clothes up in that B. Okay, so it gives me very much Paris Hilton vibes. And she's dragging her stuff in. She's like, "Oh my god, do you guys have like a servant in here? There's not a servant in here. Ugh, women shouldn't have to do hard labor. This is crazy." And Zara's just like, "Wait, you've never done laundry before?" And then freaking Ripsy, she's just like, "No, laundry. I have people for that." Okay, so it's very much live with her parents spoiled, must be nice. Right? And then the girls all sort of gather, Zara, Ripsy, and Leslie. And Leslie tells them that she's a stripper. So Leslie was our first BGC girl that was a stripper. Isn't that crazy? Our first BGC girl that was a stripper. And the girls are kind of like, "Wow." Of course, Zara, she's like, "You're going to give me a lap dance now. Get on my lap." Shake the dummy cakes. So Leslie's like, "No, I ain't with that lesbian action, okay? I'm not a lesbian." I don't do that. I don't do that. Okay, y'all gotta understand that the time frame that we were in back then, it wasn't as open as it is now. really do really anything. Sorry, y'all. Back then they used to really do anything. Nowadays they not really. Yeah, I mean back then like they wasn't with that. Okay, so then we meet. The next girl we meet is Carrie, aka Carrie Underwood. Okay, she looks like Carrie Underwood. She sung country music, so she's like, I do like country music or whatever, and like the amount of music that I used to, do, they used to kind of pin me into a hole of being more like a a sultry type of girl instead of taking my music really seriously. So I have a hard time with that, right? All I'm thinking is, girl, what you doing here? Because she didn't seem like a bad girl to me. Like she didn't seem like this was the show for her at all. It was giving me very much like I got put on the show because my agent sent me out to it and thought that it would get me great exposure. It didn't give me like, oh yeah, for sure, I'm a bad girl, and I believe it in my hearts and hearts that I'm a bad girl. She should have got casted for the real world. But from what we see later on in this episode, Sister Girl is a bad girl, okay? Because she on that. She on that type of time. It's kind of it's funny to me when I see white girls get active like with other white girls, of course. I find it hilarious. I really do. Because you never would expect it out of them. Because, like, most people that grew up in some of the towns that they grew up in, it doesn't even have to be white, but like most of the girls that are like sheltered, maybe like a Carrie, like a Ripsy, they're not the type of girls that like probably get active. So when you see them get active, you're like, whoa. So then after we meet Carrie, we end up meeting the next girl we meet is Jody. So Jody, you guys, she looks like Janelle from Big Brother. She looks so much like Janelle from Big Brother. I was like, oh my God, that's Janelle. Maybe Janelle was on Big Brother. She let the girls know, right? So she comes in. She looks like Pamela Anderson. You know, the type of girl that pokes her lips out. And then this is where Zara reveals us that she has a boyfriend who's 18 and that she's 22, which that's some country-ish, but I'm not too surprised, okay? Jody says that she's a model and like she works like in the industry and stuff like that, and a lot of girls are really jealous of her. They're always jealous of her. Okay, next bad girl we meet is Amy. So this is the punk rock chick. Just think of Teresa from BGC 11. Okay, remember when Sarah was like, "Oh, you're like an emo type of girl." She's like, "Emo." So just think of that, very much emo. So that's when they get all the girls after she enters in. She seems like the one that tries to, put off more than what she really is, try to seem a little bit more tough than she actually is. So the girls all gather and they talk about why they're there. So they're just like, yeah, it was giving very much Bad Girls Club rehab. Because she's like, oh, I'm here because I'm don't get along with females like that. I want to see how it is to get along with females. Girls are always jealous of me. Girls are always hating on me. And then one is just like, oh well, in my family, I was always the oddball out. I was always this, I was always that. So they all stay while they're there. And then that's when Carrie talked about how she lost her record deal. So she's just like, I sing country music, and I guess they didn't like what I was bringing. So like, I got dropped from the label. So that had a really big impact on who I was, and it really affected me. So that's why I lost my record deal. And then we see the next bad girl who enters in. Mind you, they all go out after this. And I felt like they did this on purpose. They made Ty enter in after they went out because they knew, Ty's doing with the hands. Okay, so this is the girl. If y'all seen that iconic BGC one fight, that was that was punching. She was grunting, sort of like SoCal Barbie off of South Central Bad. She was like, that was her. So she enters in. Lord Jesus, I be having to remember that like this show was set years ago because her. So you guys want to hear my true thoughts on what I thought about Ty? Head over to the Bad Rewind on Spotify. Okay, the link is pinned in the comments down below. That's the Bad Rewind on Spotify. Make sure you guys click that follow button, share it as much as you want, and stay tuned for the next episode of the BGC Rewind.